All right, and we're live. The 128th installment of the Unplugged Alpha podcast series. We're talking about women's pride today. I'm actually surprised I haven't covered this one before because it's a really, really fascinating point of discussion to contemplate. So I would like to tip my hat and give thanks to the inspiration for this one. There was a video a couple of days ago on Orion Terabin's channel, Psych Hacks, and interestingly, I couldn't find it today. It's been unlisted, but I found it in my history. So there was a really interesting conversation. I can't remember where I heard the story before. He was at my event. I have a couple of USBs I still have to go through from the footage from my 1% forum in January with all the talks. I think what I'm going to do is either release it on my email list or to members of the channel. If you're on the email list, that's how you get on it below. But back to Ryan's video that got unlisted the other day. I have a feeling it got unlisted because the gal that he was talking about in the video complained about it because she didn't look good. Generally speaking, when one talks about scenarios that may not shed a favorable light on an individual, especially a woman, they don't like that. I've had women on my Ladies Night podcast, and they don't like the feedback that people give them in the comments, and they'll just freak out. So I suspect that's probably what happened. I'm not like, I have the unlisted link. Anybody with a link can watch it. So if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. The title was Girl Math, Understanding the Economic Realities of Relationships. And I can't remember if I heard the story at my event during dinner or I saw it somewhere else and somebody forwarded it to me, but I heard the story before and it resonated strong and true. And my take on it is really, it boils down to women's pride. So men's downfall is their cowardice. My friend Charles says this: men's downfall is their cowardice and women's downfall is their pride. If you're new to my channel and you're unfamiliar with my work, this podcast is built on my book, The Unplugged Alpha. You can get it on Amazon in print, Kindle, and Audible. The second edition is the one you want. These podcasts are just building on the book, one episode at a time. So I hope that you have checked out the book. If you haven't, definitely grab a copy. If you want to get started somewhere a little newer for free, just get on my email list and you get the 21 red flag chapter for free. So let's go back to what we're talking about here with women's pride, because I have a few stories that I want to share with you, sort of illustrate this. We're going to do a little bit of call-in Q&A today. The link for that is in the live chat of YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, then you can go over there and do that. Here, I'll put it in all chat here. So YouTube link. I'm also on Rumble now, at the Unplugged Alpha on Rumble, so you can check that out as well too, because people have been saying, dude, go on Rumble. So dude, I'm on Rumble. There you go. How about that? All right. I've got a whole bunch of stories here that are going to illustrate women's pride and how important it is to them to, it's almost like saving face, but it's ridiculous face, which you guys will start to understand when we sort of go through these stories. I think the best one to start with is the one from Orion's practice before I get into these other ones over here, because it exemplified something very, very interesting. He was talking about this gal who was living with a guy rent-free, didn't cover any of the expenses, food, utilities, nothing like that, rent or anything like that. And she left him in her mid-30s, I think it was about 35, because she was unhappy that he had asked her to chip in with the laundry. I think if I remember correctly, the request he made was to do every other load or something like that. Just call it 50% of laundry. And in her mid-30s, she wants to know the fastest way to find a husband and have a family. Again, you know, keep in mind, she left a guy because he asked her to do low-value tasks like some loads of laundry. So Orion broke it down in a mathematical equation. I'm not going to do it that way, but the TLDR version, hopefully he'll republish the video. Maybe it needs an edit or something like that. But the TLDR version of it is, she was making like 75 grand a year living scot-free with this guy, wants a family and kids, but left him because of pride, because he asked her to contribute to the household. He asked her to do a little bit of laundry. basically every other load, right? And that's why she wanted out. And now she's asking, how do I find a man quickly and have a family? It's like, that's the stupidest question in the world, because you already had a man and could have had a family with a guy that was competent, financially reasonable, and studious in that sense, but you didn't want to because he asked you to do some low value tasks. Remember, we've said this before. The toxic version of feminism today teaches women to never do anything for the express pleasure of a man. Making him a sandwich, maybe making his bed, doing something kind for him, like, I don't know, maybe some laundry because you're living with him for free and not paying for rent or anything else. It's pretty common, right? There's a lot of women that find a guy, then they claim him. Where do we stand? Where's this going? I'd like to be exclusive with you. Fine, so he does. Many of these guys will give up their own sexual strategy and they'll choose monogamy too, right? And then she wants to move in because she wants more security. And most guys don't see the risk in that because they're blind to it. I mean, she probably did this dude a favor by leaving him. But he says, okay, fine. I'll invite you to my life. Come into my home. Move in. Don't worry about anything. I'm the man. I'll take care of it. And then eventually he'll say something like, you know, I'm taking care of everything here. It'd be great if maybe you could do some laundry from time to time. And then because of pride, she'll say, fuck this, I'm out. And now she's in a scenario where she's got no dude. She's got no real rapid prospects to have a family and kids. Because let's be honest, a woman at 35 is pretty much at the end of a reproductive life cycle. Like, not very many women have healthy children after 35, 40, so on and so forth. It happens, but it's not common. And it does come with complications. They're like generally considered high-risk pregnancies. Living on her own now, paying 100% of the rent, 100% of utilities and food and everything like that, and doing 100% of her laundry. So like, this is the whole girl math thing. Like, this is the woman's pride component that we're talking about here. They will walk away from perfectly good men for the most bizarre reasons. I'm going to share a few other stories here to put this in context before we get to the Q&A. Hopefully in about 20, 25 minutes, I'll get to the Q&A. Again, taking call-ins on the show. The link for StreamYard is in the YouTube. It's pinned towards the top. You can click that, join. You can watch in the back room if you want. There's a few people already waiting. So if you have questions, we'll hop into those in a bit. Which one should I go with here? So a buddy of mine is with this girl, and they have a issue over an insignificant area of the relationship that goes back to the pride thing. He's been with her for a while. She and him have, you kind of work out to a schedule sort of thing. There's certain days a week you get to see each other because of your obligations and hers and whatever sort of thing. So there happens to be one day that he sees her where she comes over, and it's garbage day. And where he lives, there's like recycling and food bin collection and stuff like that, and garbage, obviously. And there's certain bins that come back to the house. Garbage bags obviously get taken away, but there's certain like recycling bins that need to get brought back to the house. One of the things he noticed early on when he was dating her, when she would come over, she would come over, pull in the driveway, and then just walk down the end of the driveway and collect the bins and bring them to the front of the house. Never really said anything, but of course he appreciated it. And it's one of the reasons why he chose her. Not the only reason, obviously, but one of the many reasons why he chose her over other potential long-term relationship type of candidate, type of women. So what ends up happening is over time, she stops doing that. Pull in the driveway, ignore it, come into the house. So he starts to notice this, right? Because he works from home. So he's not always out of the house. There's not always a need for him to walk to the end of the driveway, pick it up, bring it back sort of thing. She just happened to do it before, and he appreciated that and saw it as a strong, like a good character trait that you'd like in a girlfriend, like a chick that you'd want to keep around sort of thing. So when he notices that she stops doing it, he brings it up. She gets upset because she thinks, well, because of pride or whatever, it's a task that's beneath her. Why should she be doing it? Maybe because it's a blue job instead of a pink job sort of thing. And then, disagreement ensues. Like, a point of pride like that is so entertaining to me, because if you're doing something to get in the door, you need to keep doing the things that got you in the door to stay in the door, right? I've said this many times before. It's like, women need to understand this. Like, you can't get lazy in a relationship. Guys can't get lazy. Men can't become incompetent. We can't go broke. We can't be little crybabies. We can't turn little bitches if things don't go our way. We can't stop solving problems, right? It's incumbent upon men to pursue excellence, to continue to do and improve their lives and continue to provide benefits to a woman, right? There's this notion of Bruffault's law. And here, I'll get the exact definition because I might fuck it up. I don't want to butcher it, so give me a second. Some of you guys may not be familiar with it. I actually did a video a long time ago on it. It's on the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel. There's always one of these fucking sites where you have to enter in password. What exactly is Bruffault's law? Let's find it here. Quora. No, I don't want to fucking somebody's opinion of it. Where's the? Oh, here it is. Wikipedia. Okay. Let's do the Wikipedia definition. Biography, Bruffault's law. Okay, so the definition of Bruffault's law. So he was a English surgeon, whatever, doctor guy. Okay, and observing animals in the animal kingdom and their behavior, he noticed the female, not the male, determines all of the conditions of the animal family. Where the female can derive no benefit from association with the male, no such association will take place. So, primates, gorillas, bonobos, whatever. It's very common throughout the animal kingdom. If the male isn't providing continuous benefit to the female, she doesn't see any reason to stick around, so she bounces. It's true in humans as well, right? Like if a woman isn't receiving continuous forthcoming benefit from from the relationship with you, she will see no reason to be in that relationship and she will bounce. This is an uncomfortable truth. Women don't like hearing this. They will argue that it's not true. Oh, but men do it too, blah, blah, blah. All of that's bullshit. The fact of the matter is, this is factual and true. It's a statement of fact. Animals throughout the animal kingdom, humans inclusive, if the female does not derive any benefit from being in that relationship, she will find somebody else. So we have a strong burden of performance on our shoulders, right? All this guy was asking this gal to do when it comes to the garbage was just, hey, do me solid. I liked that you did that. It shows me that you give a fuck. It also shows me that you're not going to drive over it when you back out over the drive, in the morning sort of thing. It's just kind thing to do. It'd be cool if you continue to do it, right? But disagreement, will ensue from like this is the level of pride that, and women will never see this. You can legit talk to a woman straight in the eye and explain these things to them because of another thing that's true about female nature is their solipsism. And all that means is they can't really envision anything past their own world, right? Like they only view the world from their own shoes. They'll never be able to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, sort of thing. I think men are far better at that, and they're not uniquely solipsistic the way that women are. I think we all have a little bit of selfishness, to some degree, but selfishness and solipsism isn't really the same thing. Let me share another story. There was this gal that broke up with a guy because let's just use something simple, so easy math. We'll say he was making $100,000 a year. She was making $20,000 a year. Okay, so he's making significantly more. So let's just use an 80-20 split. Keep it simple like that. Because he was making a lot more money. She had argued when she claims him, then she wants to live with him, sort of thing. As many men do. Fine, sure, let's move in together. And then they have to figure out how they're going to take care of the rent and the utilities and food and all that sort of stuff. And some guys just do some shit like, I'll just cover the rent, you get the food, sort of thing, because you like to cook up, so you just take care of the groceries. Some couples, when they live together, they'll be like, all right, well, because I make a lot more money than you, I'll pay 80% of the rent, you pay 20%, or I'll pay 80% of the grocery bills, you pay 20% of the grocery bills, and they'll sort of split it up that way. But because structures like that have been set up in the past, I've seen women also leave those relationships too, right? It's like, well, I was expected to contribute, 20, 30, 40, whatever the percentage happened to be based on my income, which you think would be reasonable and fair, because isn't that what feminism wanted? It wants equality. Isn't that what equality, like it's not actually equality if you're splitting it 80-20, but 50-50 would be equality. But it's just, like, you get the point, right? But that wasn't good enough. So now she bounces and moves out, and she's basically paying for everything herself, 100% of it. Funny story that I came across when I was dating this gal a number of years ago, single mommy story. Some people ask me, what I like to drink when I'm doing these shows. I found a new favorite, Barjoni spring water. It's like a carbonated water from Georgia. I came across it in the banya that I go to. It's fan-fucking-tastic. I'm a bit of a water snob. But anyway. So I'm dating the single mommy. This pride story is hilarious. I'm dating the single mommy years ago. I don't know, 2014, 15 or something like that. 13 even. And so I get a cottage in the summer because she wanted to do the whole blended family thing. It's like, oh, you have a daughter, Rich, and I've got a couple boys. It's, you know, some shit together, right? Stupid me. Okay, George, that seems like a good idea. Plugged in still. So I go get a cottage rental. It's on an island. There's obviously a boat involved from where you park and where the cottage is on the island. You guys in the States, my American friends will call them lake houses. Same thing, tomato, tomato. Go out in the morning, do some tubing, rip around. Kids are laughing. Good stuff. Come back, chill out, have a few drinks, snack, sitting on the dock, sunning. One of the kids goes, the older one, he goes, hey, let's go tubing again. Okay, no problem. Here's the problem, though. Boat's out of gas. There's some canteens up there, and we're going to have to top up the gas tank. And because you're a young man, I'm going to teach you how to do that, right? Because that's just who I am. Kid freaks out. Oh, you know, talking to me mean, whatever. You know, stuff like that. Runs up to the fucking cottage, starts crying. Everybody else goes up. Other brother, the mom, blah, 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 blah. Pride. I didn't do anything wrong there. In fact, if anything, I'm about to teach what at the time was a brat, how to top up a gas tank in a boat. Kind of like a manly skill, something you'd think a 12 or 13-year-old kid should learn at that point. I seem to remember around that age, I was definitely, oh yeah, by the age of 10 or 11, I was cutting my dad's lawn all the time. Lawnmower's out of gas, I had to fill it up, put the gas canteen away, the cherry can, screw it back on, resume cutting sort of thing. So it's my opinion at that time as an adult and as a parent to my own kid that a boy needs to learn this useful skill. Disagrees, has a hissy fit, spaz, goes up the house. Mom's pride kicks in now because the kid has a bad, you know, reaction to it, like he's allergic to accountability and doing something that would make him a man, right? Mom throws a big spaz. You got to apologize to him. You can't talk to him that way, blah, blah, blah. I was at the point where it's like, I had seen that, like I'd seen that movie before and I was just like, no, I'm not going to apologize for that. It's a very simple task. It's something that you should support me on. You know, if you want to get him down here, let's get it done. If not, I'm happy to take you back and, you know, you guys can leave sort of thing. Guess what they chose? Leaving because of pride. That's how strong pride is for women. Incidentally, by the way, a couple of days later, trying to fix that debacle, as one typically does when you ego invest into something, another fight ensues over the kid's bratty behavior. She goes out that night and goes out to a club with her friends and bangs the dude, stays with him overnight, bangs him again, bang, bang, bang. Lies to me about it, sort of thing. So this is the point of women's pride. It is that powerful. It is that strong. It is that big piece of their persona, of their personality, that it really just sort of like controls decision making, and in many degrees, in many instances, bad decision making. One of the hills that I die on, I don't care who I have this conversation with. I've talked to a lot of guys now in my private consults, some very successful dudes. These guys are very, very hard to replace. I'm talking tall, handsome, wealthy, good looking, in some cases ridiculously good looking, nice real estate, cars, family lives. You know, they do everything for the family, the vacations, the Thanksgivings, the Christmas, invite the in-laws in, do shit with them all the time. Sometimes these guys, during the course of their lives, women throw themselves at them, young, attractive women, and they step out. Now, you may argue that's wrong. You may argue it doesn't matter. He's a high-value man. He can do whatever the hell he wants. You can argue whatever you want, but here's the point of contention that I have with that women's pride really screws this up at, okay? You're married in a family. You've got small children. Your job is to bring home the bacon. You're crushing in the world. You're influential. You're competent. You're funny. You've got a good social network. You're well connected. Blah, 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 blah. Like you tick off all the boxes. Married to a chick. She finds out, doesn't like it. because of pride, because pride being so strong in them, being such an important component of how they perform mathematical equations when making decisions. She's like, fuck this, I'm gonna get divorced. You've cheated on me, sort of thing. But they don't understand the difference when men do it and women do it, right? Like when women do it, it's a betrayal, because when women engage with a guy, it's with somebody that they really like or are in love with. Could be a guy that they're pursuing, could be a guy from her past. When they step out, it's a betrayal. When a guy does it, it's often just exercise. It's just like, whatever, stupid idea, go away, sort of thing. Some bimbo, so to speak. But breaking up a family out of a point of pride, alienating a father from his kids, and again, I've seen this story before, okay? Some people will be like, well, he shouldn't have cheated then. Hear me out. Alienating a father from his kids, stealing half of his wealth. Now, she goes out after they're separated, after that acrimonious, could be 1 year, could be 3 year period, could be 100 grand in legal fees and fighting, could be $500,000, could be $1 million. One of my lawyer friends was telling me that he once dealt with a couple for over 2 years, and they were fighting over a fucking couch. Spent $80,000 in legal fees fighting over a couch. It was a nice couch, but they fought over a couch. Like, this is the point of pride that I'm talking about, right? So she breaks up this family, alienates the father from the kids because she's pissed off at him because he banged some hotter, younger thing, whatever, some bimbo that he forgot about, but she never forgets about. And then she starts dating other guys, and guess what? She's bringing new men into the house, non-blood related relatives. I've talked about this before. I've mentioned this many times when it comes up. But one of the most dangerous things that you can do to a child, especially a girl, boys suffer from this too, but not as much as girls. Any guy that's older, that's had some experience dating, talked to women, runs into some fucked up women that have unresolved childhood trauma because stepdads or stepbrothers or some version of a non-blood related relative violated them when they were kids, right? Which is totally wrong. And her now introducing non-blood relatives into the household. Maybe she meets a guy, maybe he's got a couple sons, she's got 3 daughters or something like that, 3 young daughters. Dude's got older. There's all kinds of things that can go incredibly wrong over pride, because she can't swallow her pride and just look the other way and be like, whatever. There's a lot of women that will, by the way. There's a lot of women, that will. I've talked to guys where it's just like, she didn't even care. She just didn't even want to know about it. She didn't. Last thing that most women don't want is some chick showing up, knocking on the door and being like, surprise, got Rich's kid, sort of thing. Hey, look, woo. They don't want that, right? Because that's embarrassing, right? That would really be like a nail crusher into their pride. You taking a girl on a vacation somewhere that's important to your family, to your wife or something like that, that would be retarded. That's the stupidest thing that you could do, right? Going to a restaurant that you bring your family to and somebody sees you there, snaps a little picture. Oh, look, he's at a restaurant with this Twinkie or whatever you want to call him, right? Floozy. That'll be a point of pride, right? So guys, don't be stupid, first of all. But the pride component, women operate on it. It's so important to them. It's so valuable. They hold it so hard and close to their heart. It's incredible how many equations that a woman's pride is used in determining life-changing decisions, like divorce, for example, right? And I'm not even kidding. Like, this is like the story that I'm telling you about, where this guy's wife decided to untie the knot because he stepped out. It's not like he had a mistress that he was keeping in another condo. It's not like he had multiple girlfriends. It's not like it was a regular thing. It was like rare, one-off things, bimbos that he did not care about, that he never really talked about afterwards. But because of pride, she had to untie the knot, rip apart the family, remove him from his kids, steal half of his wealth, and then start introducing new men into the household. He had daughters, by the way. New men into the household that may potentially be problematic for his kids. That's dangerous. It's incredibly bad decision-making. This is what pride does to women. They'll end up single because they won't settle. Like, that's another one that you'll see a lot on the Ladies Night podcast, right? You'll see a lot of women that have these remarkable expectations, massive long list of important things. And they're like, 32, 35, 38. And they're like, by the time they get into their 30s, especially mid 30s, they really start feeling the heat for like they got the baby rabies, right? Like, hey, lady, where's the babies? Talked about it in my book. It's on Audible. I actually say it in that exact tone. Hey, lady, where's the babies, right? And they start getting anxious. And it's like, okay, you talk to these gals on the show on ladies' night, and it's like, okay, well, what were you doing in your 20s? What were you doing in your early 30s? You know, what were you doing in your late teens? And it's like a consistent sequence of bad decisions, a lot of the time with genuinely good guys with good intentions that they'll walk away from because of pride. Oh, he wasn't, he wasn't influential enough, or, oh, he didn't make enough money. He was only making $150,000 a year. Like, my girlfriends are with guys that make, 7 figures a year. $150,000 barely cuts it in this city, sort of thing, right? And it's a matter of pride, and they'll walk out. Or like, the chicks that are like, the guy asked her to do some low tier activity, like doing some laundry, cleaning up, doing some dishes, cooking every once in a while. And they're like, I won't do anything for the express pleasure of a man. Not in those words, but that's essentially where pride kicks in. And they're like, I'm too proud for this, sort of thing. And then these, they end up older with no man and cats and dogs and a box wine, subscription. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality of women. Here, let me play you this clip, because I love this clip, man. This clip is sick. I was listening to David Buss's Evolution of Desire, and I actually got the book, I don't know, like 4 years ago or so, and I wanted to revisit it. I'm actually going back through some of my older books. So it's an Evo Psych book. David Buss, if you don't know who he is, he's probably the most prolific guy out there. He does a lot of podcasts and stuff, and he's written quite a few good books. Evolution of Desire is good. There's another one called Why Women Have Sex. And what I typically do when I'm going through books, so audiobooks, I don't know if you can see my screen. That's too reflective. It's not focusing. There you go. I'll do bookmarks, right? So Audible is a fantastic app. I'll be driving, click a button while I'm driving, bookmark that, bookmark that, bookmark. And, sometimes I'll have dozen bookmarks, when I'm done through the book. I went through the second time and I bookmarked a few areas here that I want to play back for you. Let's just dive right into this. So there's a couple which will illustrate the vast differences between men and women. Here's one.
Partner out of the bad mood and putting one's own plans aside temporarily take up energy at the expense of other goals. Women impose these costs on men as a tactic for eliciting commitment. A moody woman may be saying, you had better increase your commitment to me or else I will burden you with my emotional volatility. It is one tactic in women's repertoire for eliciting male commitment. Men dislike it because it requires that they expend effort that could be allocated to solving other adaptive challenges. Moodiness also functions as an assessment device to test the strength of the bond. Women use moodiness to impose small costs on their mates and then use men's reactions to the costs as a gauge of their degree of commitment. If a man is unwilling to partner out of the
Okay, now stop. Stop. There we go. So he's talking about women's moodiness in that clip, and how women will test men when they become moody, and they want to elicit a reaction from them, and they gauge that reaction as far as their commitment to that woman based on the moody. So it's this weird cycle of, it's like, I'm going to be moody and difficult to see what he does. And if he responds in a way that I see favorable to my moodiness and my difficultness, is that even a word? Being difficult, then that will help me assess my position in the relationship and the security that I have, blah, blah, blah. There's another clip that's even more interesting here, the second one. I really hope you guys heard that. Let me just turn up the volume a little bit more.
Humans were not designed by natural selection to coexist in mating bliss. They were designed for individual survival and genetic reproduction. The psychological mechanisms fashioned by these ruthless evolutionary criteria are sometimes selfish. Conflicts over investment often center on money. A study of American couples found that money is one of the most frequent sources of conflict.
Okay. So I bookmarked that because we're constantly told by society and culture and religion and Hollywood and Disney movies and rom-coms and all that bullshit that's out there that men and women can operate collectively in a state of bliss. That's what marriage is supposed to be. That's what that's what we've been told a good relationship is. I cited a study in my book, Aceto and Aaron, were the characters involved in the research paper, and the details again are in my book, and you can look up the study as well. But couples over a span of 8 years were studied, and they were trying to determine or assess whether they were in bliss, in love, or if they didn't like each other, basically on the other end of the spectrum. And what they got back was like less than 13% after 8 years are in a state of love, and less than 2% are in a state of bliss, which echoes the research from David Buss and his lab. Men and women are not designed to coexist in a state of bliss. There's always going to be conflict. There's just always going to be conflict. They can be complementary. I mean, if you have a good girl that's willing to mold, work with you, follow your lead, and you can lead properly as a guy, sort of thing, it can be more collaborative, right? Blue jobs, pink jobs, sort of stuff like that. You kind of fill in the gaps where needed. But I think it's very, very difficult to get yourself into the 2 or 3% that find themselves in a state of bliss, right? Because of all these other components: hypergamy, solipsism, women's pride. Again, back to my friend Charles's world, where pride is a downfall for women. They will walk away from genuinely good to great scenarios because something rubs them the wrong way, or maybe something rubs one of their bratty kids the wrong way, or something rubs a family member the wrong way because of pride, right? And that's just the reality of the world we live in, dudes. It's just a strong, unfortunate consequence of men being men and having testosterone, being testosterone dominant, and women being more emotional and being more emotionally driven, estrogen driven, sort of thing. It is what it is. When guys have a conversation about a topic that's important to them, they have this conversation from the perspective of being rational and logical and using deductive reasoning to come to a solution. One of the things you'll hear chicks, say from time to time is like, well, I just want you to listen to me. I don't want you to necessarily offer a solution, right? And it's like, when we hear a problem, we want to solve it. And, especially if you love a chick and she's in your life, you want to solve her problems. But a lot of the times they don't want a solution. They just want you to sit there and nod and just listen to their problem, right? So there's vast differences between humans, guys. It is what it is. It's the reality of where we're at. All right, let's do this. I got some people waiting to call in and ask a question. Again, if you're watching live, the call-in link is in YouTube. So head over to the Unplugged Alpha YouTube channel. Episode 128 is live right now. That's titled Women's Pride. If you guys are watching the replays, you get the questions asked during the live show. So click the link on StreamYard, come in. I'm going to run the ad reel for 2 minutes, have a little bit of a drink of my water, my delicious water. And we'll get to the Q&A stuff. Here is the ad reel. I'll be back in like a minute and a half. This episode is brought to you by the Unplugged Alpha Supplements and Grondike Soap Company. Brothers, if you're like me and you take what you put in your body seriously, you'll want to use the Unplugged Alpha Supplements. An obsession with absorption is what sets this line apart from the others. You want to make sure that you absorb as much of the supplements as possible so you don't end up peeing out expensive urine. My supplement line is made in the United States from the highest quality domestic ingredients. And unlike cheaper supplements from China in plastic bottles, mine ship in dark glass bottles to keep your supplements fresher, longer, and won't seep endocrine disrupting plastics into your supplements. Nothing is a hard tablet. Everything is in an easily digestible, bioavailable capsule. You can filter all products by various categories, including testosterone support, estrogen metabolism, fat burning, immune health, sleep support, and performance. Visit theunpluggedalpha.com/shop and use the subscribe and save option to get 10% off your supplement orders, or use coupon code ALPHA10 for 10% off a one-time order to try it out. Then, I use Tactical Soap and God of War beard oil every day. Tactical Soap is a handmade product made in the United States from ingredients you can actually pronounce, not conventional endocrine-lowering toiletry chemicals. Both the soap and the beard oils are infused with bioidentical pheromones that are designed by a clinical psychologist and pheromone expert to maximize attractiveness to the opposite sex. Go visit coopersoap.com and get 10% off your order today. Guys, check out my website at RichCooper.ca for more information on booking me for coaching, my community, my courses, and a whole bunch more. You can also find all the useful links pinned below in the top YouTube comment of all my videos. Now let's get on with the show. All right. And we're back. Just responding to a text here. All right, let's do Q&A. Guys, again, if you enjoy the content, apparently I'm not saying this enough, supplement line on the website. Get the book if you haven't read it. If you've read the book, get a copy for a friend. You need private consultation, anything you're stuck on, links are on the website. Go check it all out at RichCooper.ca. All right, got a bunch of guys here for some questions. Again, the link is live in the YouTube chat. Let's get Jack first. We got Kizza, we got Icarus. Let's do Jack here. Here we go. Jack, what do you got for me, buddy?
Yes, Rich, you can hear me?
Can you turn up your volume a little bit or your mic or something? I can barely hear you. Maybe it's on my end. Hold on. Go ahead.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I just turned up my volume. Go ahead.
All right.
All right, what do you got for me, man?
Yes, Rich. Dude, the past 3 months have been. I don't even know what to say. I'm just listening to you, and like my mind is changing as I'm listening to you. Mm-hmm. Okay. About body count with other men. Like, how much do you tolerate? When is it?
Sorry, body count with other men?
Yeah, like.
Are you gay?
No, with women.
With women.
Like, how much do you tolerate?
I mean, okay, well, that really depends on who you are. I mean, the higher you value, the lower the body count you're going to tolerate. See what I'm saying? Like, if you're a top shelf sort of guy, you're not going to invite a woman into your life that's shared her body with 100 dudes, 1,000 dudes even, right? You're just not. You're going to look for a woman that's more valuable to you, that has preserved her beauty and her sexuality for you and only you, sort of thing. So the quick answer to that is the lower the number, the better.
All right, because
1 is better than 10, 10 is better than 100.
Because I've been involved with a chick for like maybe 3 months now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know her because she used to be my neighbor. And
okay,
I'm attached, man, and I'm trying to like set like a boundary. I'm trying to take a step back. And
okay, so what did you learn about her that's bothering you?
Quite a few dudes.
How many?
Little 100, 150.
How old is she?
33.
And why does that bother you?
It doesn't, because she's been, you know, with me.
Okay.
And
so you don't have any inherent disgust over that number, or?
That's the first thing I asked her. Was
okay.
Like, all right, come on, like, how many guys are we talking about here?
And she offered 100?
I think less. And I was like, no, it's more, right?
Okay. So then she eventually got to 100 after
Yeah.
you push a little bit. I mean, you want to have kids with this chick? Like, what's the plan?
I don't think it's possible.
Okay, so you are disgusted by it.
No, I'm not disgusted by it, because I like this chick.
Okay, so why do you think it's not possible to have kids with her then?
She can't.
She's not able to have kids.
Yeah.
Why, did she have like a hysterectomy or something, or did she get her
Yeah.
guts rearranged too badly by Chad and Tyrone?
I guess, yeah. I mean, she had some kind of like problem and had that shit removed.
Okay.
Listen, I'm here on a whim, man. Like,
how old are you?
This shit. I'm 30.
Okay. Do you want to have kids? You want to reproduce? You want to pass on your name? You want to leave DNA behind?
I don't think so.
Is it because you're with this chick and she can't have kids, or if you're given the opportunity with other options, would you?
I'm pretty stubborn about this relationship, so yeah.
Okay. All right. So what's the ask here? Like, what are you stuck on here? Because the first question you ask is, how big of a body count is too much?
She's an alcoholic, man. Yeah, she's in a rehab right now. She just called me on the phone to say hi to me.
Okay. Hold on a second. Give me a second here, man. I got okay, we're not just talking about something basic here, dude. Like, it started with body count. No. Now she's an alcoholic. So what other red flags does she have?
All the red flags. But I've been putting up with it.
Okay, so fucking hell, I got.
And And anybody in the chat that is like fucking questioning me, I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
And I'm serious.
Okay. Well, you do care because you have an attachment to her, but you also have an issue with her past, right? Like a woman's concerned with a man's future. A man is concerned with a woman's past and what she's done and where she's going.
I mean, like after I'm done seeing her and I'm sleeping with her, and then later that night she goes and fucking sleeps with another guy. Like once, you know, like all right, none of you guys are putting up with that. All you are trying.
Never mind the chat. Never mind the chat. You're talking to me.
All right. Like I put up with shit, man. She was fucking blacked out drunk and someone took advantage of her.
Well, she got drunk in a scenario that would expose her to that risk, though. Like that's a bad choice. You can't lay all the blame on the guy that took advantage of her if she puts herself in a scenario where she gets blacked out drunk. Like that's poor decision making, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing nothing about it.
So what's the question here? Like, are you asking me to co-sign a bad relationship? Like, what are you doing?
I guess pretty much, man. Yeah.
I can't co-sign bad women, my man.
Like
I talk to too many guys.
I want to know how to make this work. I want to know how to make this work.
You can't. You know how you make it work? You're standing in this direction. You turn 180 degrees in this direction, and then you proceed to walk that way.
I've already done that.
Not if you're still with her.
Like a long time ago, and then she came back into my life, and I'm like, fine.
You have to set that boundary, man. You got to cut her off, block her numbers, say, look, we're done. I can't be with you. Like, dude, you can invite a woman into your life who's got all the red flags. Okay, like I've got 21 on the list. Daddy issues. She's a feminist. She's unhappy. She's unlucky. She competes with you. She's got loads of men from her past around. Poor with money. She's violent. Has extreme jealousy. She's a party girl. Has tattoos and piercings. Big notch count. We've covered that one. Single mom. Seeking validation. She was a sugar baby. Pathological liar. She's got baby rabies. Hissy fits. She obviously doesn't have baby rabies if she can't have kids. Throws hissy fits. You're not in control of the birth. There's drama queen situation. She's got addictions, which you just agreed with, and she won't comply. She's got more red flags than a Chinese communist parade. You can invite her into your life and make her your wife. You can live with her. You can make her your girlfriend, but your life will be difficult. Your life will not be as productive and as happy and upbeat as the guy that vets for red flags and says, oh, I see the red flags now. I am not going to date you. I'm going to turn 180 degrees and walk in that direction now. It's hard to do if you don't have options.
It's difficult.
It's hard to do if you don't have options. But the whole ROI, the return on investment on doing the work on yourself and leveling yourself up, is so that you don't deal with these problematic women, so that you don't invite chaos into your life.
See, like I'm not thinking the right way. Like I want to level up, but I want to stay with her.
Well, you can't. I mean, you can't soar like an eagle if you surround yourself with turkeys. Right.
Is there
my dad flat out told me that as a kid. He's like, Rich, you're never going to soar like an eagle if you surround yourself with turkeys. You can't allow problematic people in your life. You have to turn away and walk away from them lovingly. Don't be a dick, but you just turn around, you walk in the direction lovingly, and you move on, and you just lose their number. And then you go and do the work on yourself. How old are you get? You said 32?
Her? Or
you.
Me?
You.
I'm 30.
30. Okay. So you're 30. Have you made your first million yet?
No.
Okay, so that's something that you can work on. Are you physically fit? Or are you
Absolutely.
Are you physically fit? Because you look a little bit overweight. I see a little bit of weight around your neck.
No, I'm fit.
Okay, you can bench 3 plates, 315.
I don't lift. I just.
So you're not physically fit. So that's something else that you can work on. Are you able to fight? Like, are you competent in the realm of combat? Can you box? Can you kickbox? Do you
Absolutely.
know Krav Maga?
Absolutely. I believe I'm the best in the world.
You must be an MMA fighter then.
I absolutely am. I haven't done it in a long time.
Well, if you're the best in the world, then you would have a belt and you'd be in
Dana
White's MMA competitions, right?
I do have a belt. It's in my car.
Awesome. Okay, so you're a good fighter. But there's other areas in your life that you can focus on, right? Getting your physicality fixed, your health fixed. Vaping's not good for you, obviously, right?
I'm trying
Making
to sell
some bank. Sorry?
I'm trying to sell insurance.
Okay. Doing all of those things will get you to the next level. That will expose you to better women. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess.
And that way you don't have to make the choice on...
I'm just simping. I'm just like...
I'm not calling you a simp. People might say that, but you're allowing a problematic woman in your life because you don't have better options. If you had better options, you wouldn't entertain this chick. Right?
I just think it could get better. I just think it could get better.
No.
I mean, it's like
it gets better by you leaving.
No,
dude. It gets better by you leaving. You can't fix broken women. Like, this is the classic Captain Save-A-Ho mentality where guys are like, I can save her. Like, I can fix this, right? Like, if I just love her enough, if I just help her enough, if I'm just there to support her when she calls me from rehab and talk to her, we can get through this and make things better. And that's going to require her leveling up, okay, but bringing you down as a consequence of that. It's impossible. It's impossible for you to continue to accelerate and do more and become better in your life when you have an anchor. You've heard me talk about anchors in sales?
No.
You know what a sailboat is, obviously. It's got a great big sail. It's got a mast. The wind blows in it, and it pushes it to its next port of call. An anchor will anchor the boat to an anchorage and keep it in place. People in your life will be anchors in sales. This woman is an anchor. She's not filling your sails with wind. She won't take you to the next port of call. She doesn't add value to your life. She drags you down. And what do I keep telling guys? We love complicating our lives and justifying why we do it.
But I'm happy, man.
You're not happy because you're calling me and you're talking about the problems that you've got with this chick. If you were happy, you wouldn't be calling me.
I want to tell you about the whole thing.
There's more. Keep going then. What else you got?
Oh, you got me.
You said there's more. Fill me in.
I feel like I'm under pressure now.
What else is there that you want to talk about, man? I mean, I'm here to help you. I'm trying to offer you some good guidance here. You don't like it though.
I don't like much of anything.
So how are you going to prove if you don't listen to it? What does your dad say about all this?
My dad's in a nursing home. I just saw him the other day. I made him laugh for an hour by showing him Sebastian Maniscalco clips.
Is he together? Like, is he able to think? Can you have a conversation with him, or is he going?
He's not competent.
Okay, so you can't talk to him about stuff like this. Got it. Okay, like, I'm just asking, like, what does family say when you bring this up? Like, hey, this is my girl. Here's the situation.
Everybody hates it.
Everybody hates it. Why do they hate it?
I had her here at the house a couple times, and her brother is with my mother.
Her brother is with your mom, and you're with her. Okay.
Yeah. So she came to the house with him because they wanted a document signed, and I'm a notary, so I said I would do it, and I couldn't do it because they were trying to get the document signed for somebody that wasn't there, and they didn't have guardianship or any of that stuff. So I said no, and she was a little drunk and tired, and was going to stay at the house. And
have you read my book?
Yeah, I have your book, Rich.
Cool. How new are you to my content? Like, have you watched a lot of videos? You've seen a lot of the podcasts?
I haven't been watching you since I've been seeing her.
Okay. My man, you are really stuck on this chick, and I am not going to change your mind. You haven't liked anything that I've said. I am not able to put lipstick and makeup on a pig and make it look better. It's still a pig.
I'm really fucking stubborn, man. And I apologize to the chat and to you.
No, you're gonna. All I'm saying, dude, is that you're gonna be stuck with her, Jack. Until you, like, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? You're gonna be stuck with her until your view, your opinion, until you raise your standards for yourself for what you're willing to allow in your life. You will be stuck with her, and you will forever deal. And
I'm trying to LTR this.
Why?
I just want to be around her. I just want to listen to her.
Dude, get a dog if you want company.
She has a dog.
No, you get a dog if you want company. Forget about her and her dog. You get your own dog if you want company. You want loyalty, you want somebody by your side to love you unconditionally, get a dog. She's not going to do it, dude. She's a walking red flag. She's a walking Chinese Communist parade. She's got every red flag. She's not good for you. I can't explain it to you any other way. It's just a bad choice. You're going to do what you're going to do anyway, but you're going to deal with the consequences of those choices. I mean, I only want the best for every guy out there, and I truly believe that what you're doing right now and the choices that you're making are just going to lead to more problems for you down the road. And I think inherently you believe that too, but you don't want to accept it because you're playing
I'm trying to use your content and use the red pill community to make these choices.
Yeah, like you're trying to fix her, but you can't. You can't, and I can't co-sign this relationship. It's a bad relationship.
What's that term for like a red pill like masturbator or whatever the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
You're just listening to it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like
that's what you're doing. Yeah.
Like I could write it all down on a list and go A through Z and be like, yeah, this, and this,
right.
And then I'll be able to make it smarter, but yet I'm still making the bad choice.
Right. So stop it. You know you're doing something wrong, so stop it.
Well, like you said, I don't have options. So
when you level yourself up, you make more money, you're more competent, you're more influential, you got a better social network of guys, you will have better options. I can tell you something right now. I was just in Breckenridge skiing with my boys, the Generals. There's like, I don't know, 10 or a dozen of us there. There's nobody in that room that would ever have a conversation about the woman in their life the way that you're describing. Nobody there is dealing with an alcoholic that's in rehab. Nobody's there dealing with women that have a notch count of 100 plus. They're not dealing with any of those things, right? Because they're high caliber men. Well, when you get to that caliber, you don't deal with bad women. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now I feel bad for saying this shit. Like I'm live on the.
All it is, Jack, is raising your standards. Your standards are here right now. Raise your standards to here. Your life will improve as a consequence of you improving your standards, and you also have better women in your life too. There's a lot of shitty women out there. Trust me. I've seen them. We do ladies' night, and we see a lot of horrible women on the show. They're not all bad. There's some good women out there still. It's just, look, dude, when you're setting higher standards for yourself and you go out there and you do the work, you're going to see a chick like this and you're going to be like, no thanks. You won't even give her the time of day. But you're at the point right now where you have to give her the time of day because you don't have better options.
Honestly, like I'm trauma bound to her. That's why I'm so.
There's something going on there that's got you in an addictive sort of vortex of her bullshit right now that you can't walk away from. I don't know what it is, dude.
I've been always afraid to approach. I've been afraid my entire life to keep going.
Yeah, to deal with chicks. But here's the thing.
No, to deal with her.
Yeah.
And I always avoided it, and here it is, and I'm doing it. And I'm in it.
Here's the thing, though, Jack. Every guy in your situation that tries to fix a woman that's dealing with a really, really bad candidate, it's generally because of the sex. And I can promise you there's women out there that will bang you just as good, if not better, that don't bring these red flags that you're talking about. I promise you they're out there. Yeah, well, you just have to do the work on yourself.
I mean, the sex is nonstop, but...
Of course. That's how they get you, right? Like they're usually BPD chicks, right? Freaks in the sheets, can try to be a lady on the street. They're really good actors, sort of thing. I think what needs to be done. I don't think we need to beat this horse anymore. Appreciate you. I mean, sharing this. This is a difficult conversation to have, obviously. But dude, my man, raise your standards. If you have belts and you've fought and you've put your jaw on the line and stared another dangerous man in the eye and thrown fists at him, right? Like if you've truly done that,
I've lost count.
You know how much work is required to get there, how much training is involved, how much cardio is involved. Yeah. I've done it. I've done a boxing match, so I know what's required of me, right? Yeah, that's a lot of fucking work. That's a lot of discipline. Take that same level of discipline that you've applied to combat to your life and raise your standards so that you can win in life as well, because you don't get into a fight to lose. You don't play not to win. You play to win when you get into a fight, right? You're there to beat the shit out of the other guy, and he wants to beat the shit out of you. So apply that same strength and discipline. Yeah, so apply that same discipline to your own life and raise your standards. Because you don't get into a ring to lose, right? You get into win. So get into life in general and everything when it comes to deal with women, money, everything else to win. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. So don't entertain this, or can I entertain this? Because I'm probably
no. I am not co-signing this. I do not agree with this. This is not a good idea from any. There's nobody that you're going to convince this is a solid check. How many women have you dated in the past? You got experience with women?
Very, very minimal.
How many?
Maybe I had one real chick. Yeah.
Okay, so this is part of the problem too. You need to have some experience. Like, if you go to the grocery store and you see the produce there, a big pile of oranges or bananas or some shit like that, if there's only one banana there, that's all you're going to buy. But if you go there and you see a stack of them and you're like, okay, this one's rotten, that one's rotten, I'm going to peel these ones off, but I'm going to take this bundle. Now you've got choice, right? And you can see good from bad. You need the choice to distinguish good from bad. The problem is you don't have the choice, so you got some crazy chick that's banging you enthusiastically. Mountains crumble to the sea, fireworks shoot out her ass. It's phenomenal, right? There's loads of other women there that do the exact same thing. Maybe even better. So don't sweat it. All right, my man, I'm going to let you go because I got a bunch of other people waiting to hop in. I hope that resonates with you. Thanks, man. That's tough. That's tough. I've seen guys get hooked on bad women before. That's one of the worst that I've seen. Every red flag. I mean, I'm sure she doesn't have every red flag, obviously, but that many red flags, it's just like my head would be spinning, my dude. Like, she wouldn't even get a date. All right, let's give it to Kizza. Kizza, what's up?
Evening, Rich. Long time no see. How's my audio?
You're good. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good. No worries. So as you see, my title is the subject of the myth of perfection.
Yes, sir.
For those who, like you said earlier, talking about how people will throw away relationships over the most tiniest or pettiest of things.
Yeah. It's women that do it over pride, to be more specific.
Well, yeah, of course. But pride, and as the old expression goes, pride always comes before the fall.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think a lot of people today, maybe it's because of social media or just modern education and stuff, they seem to have this idea of a utopia or perfection.
Yeah.
When in reality, perfection only exists in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Utopias do not exist.
Correct.
No matter everything in life, there is always a trade-off.
Correct.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
And it always makes me laugh that even in reality, we're a species that evolved 300,000 years. There's no such thing as perfection. People seem to grasp this idea of perfection, utopianism, no matter, even if you were to somehow achieve it, humanity would go insane and actively destroy it.
I am in agreement with you.
Yes, and I just find it ironic that so many people will throw so many good things away over the most tiniest of things and end up getting something inferior.
Yeah, it's very common with women, though, right? I mean, I don't think guys do it necessarily. Like, men seem to tolerate a lot when it comes to relationships. Women will be like, oh, he looked at my mom the wrong way that one time, Thanksgiving or some shit like that. Or there's just the weirdest things where women will look at a guy and just be like, I'm out. I think I can do better. And then that's how they end up in that vicious cycle of hopping from dude to dude to dude to dude to dude. And that's how they rack up these giant notch counts today, right? It's like, women seek perfection. I don't think men do. Men just want a beautiful woman that's generally agreeable and useful in his life and never disrespects him. We don't ask for a ton.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, if I were to, hypothetically, you're going to laugh at this. If I were to build the so-called ideal woman for most men,
mm-hmm.
that thing would be the hottest selling product ever created.
Well, they sell them as sex dolls to guys in the incel or the black pill community, right? The MGTOW guys.
Well, what I will say is on that all started off in Japan, because what I find funny is a lot of the problems you see in the West, quite often they already started in Japan 10 to 20 years before it came to us.
Yeah, Japan's got an issue with that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and people think like, oh, the sex dolls thing is utterly ridiculous. I'm like, I know full well there was an article from, I think it was 2010, 2011. Mm-hmm. There was a guy in Japan who married a character from a free Nintendo 3DS game.
Yes.
I'm not joking, you gentlemen. Please look this up.
I've seen it.
For those who don't know, seriously, look it up. And I just thought to myself, how lonely must a guy be that he wants to marry a bunch of ones and zeros?
Yeah, there's an algorithm. I can't remember what it's called, but I've seen ads for it, where it's like you can have an AI girlfriend, and you subscribe monthly, and then it'll send you texts, talk to you, ask you how your day is, flirt with you. Just an AI basically, and I guess it makes money because they're running ads. I mean, they're only running ads because it pays the bills. So that's that's what guys will do, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And then like it makes me laugh when like I'm sure you heard before the notion of like AI created OnlyFans account.
Yeah, those are starting to pop up too.
Yeah, they're starting to pop up, and I'm just like, I think the biggest one, it was supposed to be a woman who's like got pink, like brunette pink hair, who's 25 from Spain, and
Yeah.
apparently they said that it was making 10 grand a month.
I
I'm
would
like,
not be surprised if there's accounts making a lot more that are run,
yeah,
by
and I'm just
guys.
like, I just asked myself, guys, what on earth are you doing with your lives? Like, are you that demoralized as a person that you will pay
Let
to
me
a
ask you
bunch of
this
ones?
question:
Yes, sir.
what's worse, the guy that has an AI relationship with an algorithm, or the guy that we just had on that's dating a Chinese Communist parade?
Oof, man.
Because I don't know that I would pick either.
Honestly, Rich, this is like being asked: do I want to drown or do I want to be fully dehydrated in the
Sure.
desert?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're both like terrible options. And the thing is with the algorithm thing, it's just like you're almost guaranteed that's a dude on the other end who created it.
Absolutely. No, it's 100% a
Almost,
dude. Yeah.
yeah, guaranteed. And you could argue if you're quite a spiteful person, that's a good reason to learn the code to create a damn good AI girlfriend so you can mug all these people off. If you're one of those people who don't give a damn about ethics and morals, but like I would not like this is the problem like a lot of people don't understand about the demoralization is when it gets to such a negative level, it's going to get highly destructive. And and also obviously I know I'm perhaps preaching to the choir to many here, but like I think people need to realize that if you let this go overkill, it's going to come back and it's going to become very dangerous because it kind of makes me laugh with a lot of the so-called e-farts, Instagram models, OnlyFans types. They're getting upset with AIs because ultimately they're going to replace them. And I'm just like, ladies, this was always going to be a possibility. Anyone who understands like futurism, like technological futures, about like AI, Android, women, Android machines and stuff. And it's just like, ladies,
it's entirely plausible that they might legislate the opportunity for romantic AI, sex robots, and things like that unfeasible because the female primary social order, right? Like anything that interferes with the female primary social order generally gets legislated out somehow. So you might see that happen too. That's an entirely plausible future for that as well.
Well, that as well is like I remember our first conversation when I spoke to you about artificial wombs and how if they were to be perfected and mass produced, that you're taking away one of the major powers that women have as a species. Yeah. You remove that at that point, what value do really women hold at that point? Because I mean, someone made a good point when talking about artificial wombs. If you were to create them and you perfected them to a point where any of us men could go to a clinic, leave our sperm cells, come back 9 months later, and there's our baby. Yeah. And then you could do the gene editing to a point where you have a superior human. Why would you bother creating girls?
Well,
when you could
guys today will use surrogates though, right? Like that's an option that exists currently where you can just pay a woman to carry your kid. You can either use her egg or you can buy an egg and plant it in her once it's fertilized. There's guys that do that still today too, but I mean the problem with that is you're ending up raising a kid by yourself, which is going to be laborious. It's always better to have a woman involved in the equation, at least offer the softness that's required to, like, you just can't be hard on a kid all the time because that's how men are.
Well, I mean,
so it raises other problems too, right? But men do a far better job as single parents than women do. You know, we've talked about that before too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, myself, like despite being a relatively young man, I'm 31. I've had on and off about 22 years of experience raising children. I know that sounds crazy to anyone here. It's like, Jesus Christ, this guy's a player, or like you've been busy being cucks raising
siblings or.
The first one was my sister, and it's basically been predominantly very young cousins, and now it's my nieces and nephews from my brother and sister. So I have like tons of experience to the point that I can make most mothers, even some of the best mothers, look like child's by comparison. And I'll be honest, like there's part of me, although I'd like a family of my own, if the option comes about with artificial wombs, I'm quite tempted and quite content to go, screw it, I'll go my own way. Not to sound black pill and big toe.
What would the price point be for you to do that? So whether it's an artificial womb or a surrogate, what would you be willing to pay for that service?
Oof. I mean, I'm not severely loaded, but if let's say someone said to me, "Hey, Kizzo, give us a grand, and you could have your own child without any of the hassle of like, potential of like being screwed up by court," I'd be very tempted to take that offer up.
What if the price point was 10 or 20 grand?
Oof, 10 grand I think is pushing it. But then again, I could easily borrow that money and then pay it off later on because I got very good credit. I could very easily like borrow 10 grand and get that paid off within 3 to 5 years. Very easily done so. And the whole thing surrogate as well. I know that's become a recent talking point, especially with like gay men couples having surrogacy. And like it's also been well known with lesbian couples finding a sperm donor.
Yeah, there's lots of lesbian couples that it's funny because lesbian couples will get free sperm, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But if you're a guy and you want to have a kid and you need a surrogate, I don't know if artificial wombs exist somewhere in some special underground society or some shit, but I'm assuming if they did, they're probably pretty pricey. But a surrogate, I would imagine a woman would want, I'm going to say 10 to 20 grand minimum to carry your kid, to provide that service, because it's 9 months worth of work, right? Like you work in a year. I mean, it's not difficult work, but it's going to be an inconvenience for sure. Interesting conversation, though.
Yeah. Because ultimately, like, I'm not sure how a lot of men are in your community, but like for myself, like I generally do want to be a father and raise kids of my own.
Yeah, I hope you do, man.
Like I do, and like those who know me personally, they know full well how damn good I am with kids. I mean, hell, if I showed you a picture of me and my oldest niece, you would think that's my daughter. Not even joking you. And I do think it's a question that a lot of people do have to start asking themselves, especially in politics, because I would not be surprised, hypothetically, if those who were super wealthy, like those of the top tier people, like billionaires and stuff, I would not be surprised if they're secretly hatching, have plans to get a whole load of these wombs and just mass produce a bunch of so-called superior genetic children, offspring.
Well, let's wrap up on this note. If anybody's going to do it, I think it's going to happen from Elon Musk's corner of the universe.
Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, me personally, if I end up waking up and being king tomorrow and I had this access to this technology, I'll be honest, you'll laugh at this, and those in comments will laugh at this as well. I would create my own so-called Warhammer 40k army from it. Like 8 foot tall, 600 plus pound Giga Chad shredded army of men.
Well, go to Holland and find yourself a 6'2" chick and start making babies with her, man.
I'll be honest. I've actually done double with a Dutch at the same time, but obviously that's a secret between us.
And everybody watching right now. All right, Kizza, thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. You take care. Take care. All.
See you, man. All right, let's guys. The link to call in is in the live chat of YouTube. You can click that. Ask me anything you want. Let's give it to Icarus. We got Benny. Icarus, here we go. How you doing, Icarus?
Hello, hi Chris. Thank you for taking my call. Does it sound good?
Yeah, you're good. What do you got for me today?
Okay, I have 2 questions, but if it takes too long, I can cut it off earlier.
Okay.
Just like 30 seconds background. So after like 12 years marriage, I got separated and now going through a contested divorce, litigation, a year and a half ago. So I came across your content about a month ago. There was a video you were talking about, mentioned No More Mr. Nice Guy. Okay. I read that book. It was just like mind-boggling. Like I feel like I found the answer for many things, many of my questions. And then I read your book and then The Rational Male. And first, I want to just thank you for everything you're doing. At least to me, it has been a big help. So my question is, I know you have mentioned multiple times, like book and videos, that like you cannot like unplug a person until they are ready. Like the teacher will come when the student is ready, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And especially in these like behavioral and like high level dynamics and frameworks, I completely agree with that. You cannot like force people to go through heaven.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be ready. But that being said, I have two kids, two sons, 5 and 8 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I am still is very far ahead for them to become the man or the father, but I'm still thinking on the back of my mind that like I cannot, like, yeah, for my friends or someone else, I won't do that. I won't try to convince them that this is actually what's happening. You have no clue how the legal system, family law in Canada and other places works. But when I think about my son, on the other hand, I cannot just sit and say, okay, I sit aside, let my son, when grow up, crash and burns, and then he
Let me
will
get you
learn
to the
this.
question, Icarus, because we got people waiting. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
question
So my
is,
question is that, like, if I wanna kind of prepare my kids, my sons, for this this society of matriarchy or thing like that, to be ready before
Yeah.
they burn and crash, like, how can I teach them? I know that I have to be role model, all those things, but I want to see what's your take on that.
How old are they?
5 and 8, so they have a lot of time, but
Yeah.
I tend to start on big things like finance and these types of things very early on with them.
Boys or girls?
Both boys.
Both boys. So you got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. Which
Yes.
country do you live in?
Canada.
Oh, okay. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
How do you like Canada, by the way? You're not from Canada.
No, I'm not from Canada. I like it. I love the country. I've been here for over 14 years now.
Yeah. Where are you from originally?
Middle East.
Okay.
I don't want to be very specific.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So you've gotten divorced. You guys are living
No,
separately?
no. We are going through the divorce.
Okay, you're getting
and
divorced.
it's probably the way I'm looking at it. We will go through the end of the trial, which would be another year and a half ago.
Okay.
From now.
Really important things are to have your residences close by, because the kids in the school zone want to have access to extracurriculars very close to both parents' house. Friends will be in the same zone, so it's really important for you as both parents to agree to live in the same sort of like zones. Usually within about 5 minutes of like, you don't want to have her as a neighbor, obviously, but like within 5 to 10 minute drive of both parents' house is generally ideal, with the school in the middle. Because they're boys, what I would do with them is, you've got them, I mean, you're going to have a schedule, right? Obviously. So let's say you've
we
got
have
them.
50-50.
Yeah. So let's say you set in your schedule a certain date. I used to do this with my daughter. I just call it daddy-daughter date night. And she would pick an activity. When she was young, it was Chuck E. Cheese and a movie or something like that, or Chuck E. Cheese and a pizza, or something like that. And as she got older, it changed into more things that were closer and more age appropriate. You turn off your cell phone. You don't look at your phone while you're with her. Leave it in the car, leave it at the house, whatever, unless you've got an important call or something you have to deal with for business. But you give them your undivided attention 100% of the time when you're on that, dad-son activity. It could be fishing. It could be hiking, like any sort of masculine pursuit. You see what I'm saying? Like, pick a masculine pursuit that strong, virtuous men you've noticed from your childhood, from your culture, that would be important to make your sons understand as well, and show it to them. And for you as well, like you mentioned earlier, like, this already, you have to set the example. You have to be the guy that basically leads your sons into a position where they turn into the kind of men that you want them to be. Ideally you, right? Because that's why you have sons, right? You want them to become a version of you when you're gone, sort of thing. So
hopefully
you teach them skills. So you teach them skills like how to make money, how to solve problems, basic life skills, how to light a fire, how to, saw a piece of wood, basic like hands-on skills when they're small. Fortunately for boys, they love tinkering, man. Like, boys love doing shit. Buy them a BB gun, zero in the scope, and show them how to, shoot a little target like 25 feet away. You're going to end up with BBs everywhere, maybe a broken window or something like that, but you get the point. Like, you have to show them all of these skills.
I am doing all of these things, like even using tools and like hiking outdoor, all these things. But my question is that, like, even if they become my 30 years old version,
Yeah.
right? My 30, 40 years old version. The part that is missing is this view that the dynamic between men and women and family law is like this, right? That's the thing I want to prepare them on top of teaching them to be a good man, to be a strong man, and things like that. How should I teach them that part so they don't go through a long-term relationship and end up with like.
Well, you have to show them what terrible women look like. Honestly, dude. So, I've mentioned this story before. I'll, say it again. I had to drop off some checks at the tax office because obviously in Canada, you got to pay property tax. So, I had my daughter with me. I walked in behind the counter. I have my checks in my hand, and there's a woman there who was, I don't know, 300 pounds, 5'3", sticker book tattoos down her arm, just random tattoos everywhere, short purple hair, face piercing, eyebrow piercing, septum piercings. Your typical government worker looking toxic feminist sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I said to my daughter, I said, walking out, I go, so what'd you think of that gal, behind the counter? And she's like, she was a kid. She's 4. She's like, well, she's got interesting hair because it was purple, right? I'm like, yeah, but that's not a normal hair color, is it? She said, no. I said, okay, so do you think it's natural for women to have purple hair? She said, no. I said, is that something that you think women should be doing? She said, not really. She goes, it kind of looks strange. I said, yeah. And that's how most people look at it. And then you just tell her a story about something in the animal kingdom, like, hey, like the most toxic animals in the animal kingdom that are the most venomous,
yes,
etc., have very bright colors like that to warn off, predators and people around and things that they're dangerous. And that's kind of what she's doing with the bright purple hair, right? So it's totally okay to have important conversations with your kids about values and things that matter to you.
yes.
Absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
You are well within your right to raise your children as you say fit and share stories with them that you think are important to them. Because everything they get from school, from screens, from social media, as time goes on, as they get old, like they're small now, so don't give them screens. So that's the other thing that I should mention too. Don't give them a cell phone. Don't give them a screen until they're older, like grade 8, grade 9. A lot of parents give their kids screens when they're in grade 4 or 5 sort of thing, right? Wait till they're older. They don't need a fucking screen. They don't need to stare at something. I see parents in restaurants and they'll sit down and the first thing they do is they take out an iPad and they put it in front of their kid with headphones and they just ignore their fucking kids while they stare at a screen, right? So that's the other thing too. Keep them away from screens. Get them outside. Put them in Boy Scouts. Show them how to dig holes, get dirty, light a fire, like man stuff, right? And point out inconsistencies as you see them in the world. I was driving at one point and there was this transformer walking across the street pulling a buggy. It was a dude dressed as a woman. And I said to my kid, I go, what do you think of that? She's like, I'm like, yeah, that's not normal, is it? Right? Have those conversations with your kid because most people are afraid to do that today.
Sure, sounds good. It makes sense. Do you have time for my second question?
Yeah, quickly, go ahead.
Okay. So the other things, kind of another consequence of the divorce is that I am a kind of high income earner, and unfortunately, like my income, like nominally is high, but like 53% of it goes to Justin Trudeau, and then a big chunk goes to child supports, another big chunk goes to spousal supports, and all these things, right? Now. Unlike like my past, I find myself I'm kind of like lost the vibe to try to increase my income because the way I see it is that like let's say if my income goes up by another like 10, 20, 50 grand, most of this goes to governments and my ex. Right? A very small portion remains for me. So that kind of I don't know what advice, suggestion you have for a person like me.
I mean, there's nothing you can really do, man. If you're on payroll, the government's going to tax you. If you've got an ex-wife and you have a court order for alimony or child support, they're going to take it from you. There's really nothing you can do. I mean, sure, you can make more money, but the more money you make, the more money, like a a percentage of that more money that you make will go to the government and to your ex-wife, right? Like if she finds out you get $100,000 raise or a bonus or something like that, and the child support tables have been paying her X amount of dollars, she's going to want Y amount of dollars, and she'll probably
they go up.
Right. So there's nothing that you can do about that. Can you make money on the side? Can you make investments work for you? One of the things you can do is like, look, man, if you're smart with your money and you're smart with your investing, your money can have sex with itself and make more money, basically, right? Like,
That's true. Yeah.
Interest is. So, you can invest it wisely. Don't go and spend it on obvious, lavish things that she can see. Like if you're driving up to her house in a Toyota, don't show up in her house next time in a Bentley or something like that. Like that's too obvious, and she's going to start asking you for money. So just don't flash it off, sort of stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, but yeah, I see your point. Makes sense. I guess the other part is that, like, especially after this, I decided to enjoy my money more than before.
Yeah, spend it on yourself, spend it on your kids, take your kids on vacations. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
All right, man. Take care. See you, buddy. All right, let's do Benny over here. Benny, what do you got for me, man?
Yeah, so look, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay, so me, I'm 20 years old. I live in Canada, in Quebec. So me, my goal, like since I was like 16, was just to have a family, like happy life, and a bunch of kids, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I rushed. So anyway, long story short, I bought myself a duplex. I finished paying it.
Mm-hmm.
I built myself like a studio with a garage. So I have my like my bachelor kind of. The thing is, I was working for companies. I don't like that. I never stayed long because I feel like the system is borderline like slavery, and I feel like I'm wasting myself, repeating and showing up every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to choose like something particular because I like everything, but I'm not passionate about like something in particular.
Okay.
So right now it's as if it's almost like I don't need money really, not because I'm rich, but just because I finished paid off like my place and it's giving me like money every month.
Okay.
And I'm kind of lost. Like I don't know what to do with my life, kind of.
Well,
like,
you're not. Okay, so what's the ask here? Like, what's the question?
The thing is, like for example, I don't know if I should just focus on building for the future, or just enjoying my life like a kid, like a teen.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
What's the monthly income that you bring in right now with your passive sources?
About $3,000 a month, $3,000 a month.
Okay, and $3,000 a month is enough for you in Montreal?
Yeah, everything is paid off.
Okay. So you want to get motivated to do more? Like, what are you asking me here exactly? Like, I can wave a magic wand to solve your problem. Like, what's the problem here?
The thing is, me being like 28 and not like having a lot of payments.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should just be a teenager and just travel and just like chill and not worry about
dude,
nothing.
Not at 28, man. Look, the biggest mistake look, if I could go back and talk to my 20-year-old self, I'd say stop being such a fucking retard. Like stop wasting time. Like stop, hanging out with losers. Stop, putting off making some serious money. Because when you're in your 20s, you think you have your entire life ahead of you, and you really do. But there's a hard end to it. Like we're all going to pay taxes. We're all going to die, right? Like these are life's givens. So at 28, dude, like you're almost 30. Let me ask you this question: are you going to be a millionaire by the time you're 30?
No, I don't think so. Now, the way that I'm doing now, no.
Okay, so that's one of the things that I encourage guys to do is aim to be a millionaire by the time you're 30, right? So why would you want to set your life on cruise control and not do that?
It's a good question, but
because honestly, Benny, like even $1 million isn't a lot of money today. Like if you live in Montreal, Toronto, New York, Miami, Chicago, LA, it's not a lot of money. You can't buy much with $1 million.
Yeah, true. But like You know, being a millionaire at 30, like I know, like million is just a word. You know, I know it
It's a
comes with a
number. It's seven
lifestyle.
figures.
Yeah,
It's one with a
exactly.
bunch of zeros behind it. But it's a
It comes.
target, right? See, so here's the thing: like males are goal seeking.
Mhm.
It is in our DNA to compete. Like that's part of what testosterone is, right? Testosterone makes effort feel good. That's why we take on more risky jobs. We make more money. We indulge in areas of life that guys with lower testosterone are afraid to lean into. Um, you want to compete in life as a guy, and you want to do something with yourself. And it's not like the big mistake that a lot of these losers, oh, you're doing it for validation with women or because you're a pussy beggar or some shit like that. No, loser. It's about doing it for yourself because the payoff is all for you. It's all for you. The benefit is better network of people to hang out with, higher caliber of women to choose from. Like there's lots of benefits to doing the work on yourself and leveling up. You've got one property. Why not have 10? Why not have 50? Why not have 100 properties? Like, why stop at just one?
Yeah, the
I
reason
mean,
why I tell
three
myself,
thousand dollars a month in passive income. Okay, I wouldn't be able to live on that. What about 30,000? What about 300? What would you do with $300,000 a month in passive income with properties?
a lot, but now you're talking about the numbers, but not the problem that comes with it. And I'm always asking
Yeah.
myself, is it worth it?
You know
I don't
what?
know.
In Canada, I'm gonna say no. In the States, yeah, there's lots of opportunity for real estate and acquiring doors over there. The tax structure is better. Like everything about the structure about acquiring real estate in the States is a better place to do it than Canada. You can do well in Canada. I know lots of people that own a whole bunch of real estate here that have good passive income, but the costs associated with that and the taxation and the borrowing costs, it's just a fucking
It's just
pain in the
not
ass
worth
here.
it.
Yeah, so I get it, but maybe if you're staying in Canada, it's not real estate; it's something else. Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's some other problem that you're going to solve. You're a single guy.
I am. No children.
Okay. You sound like you're from Latin America.
Yeah, my parents, my dad,
From where?
Dominican.
Dominican. Okay. Have you looked at opportunities in the States?
Actually, I was thinking about going to Texas. I think that
Texas is nice.
the next month, because people have been talking to me about Texas a lot,
Yeah.
so I was thinking that next month I was just gonna go there.
Mm-hmm.
I have a realtor in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and she's looking for me like for lands and this and
You
that.
speak Spanish?
I do.
Obviously, right? Lots of Spanish speaking in certain regions in the States too. Like, dude, when you're 28, your opportunities are so much greater than me, dude. Like, I'm older than you, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Your opportunities to do things with your life is so much greater. Resting on your laurels and just cruising, I don't like it, man. Like, I can't even do it at my age, but I just don't like it for young guys in their 20s. It's like, for what, man? Time flies so fast. You could be doing other things with your time than sitting back and collecting $3,000 a month in passive income from the duplex, right?
hmm So basically, if I understand properly, but I understand that for real, I should aim higher because now
Yeah,
cruising, it's
dude. What did I say to the guy earlier? What was his name? Jack or something like that? Raise your standards,
yeah.
right? Like, if your standards are here, you're going to get here. If your standards are here, you're going to get here. You're going to get the stuff that comes with that, right? I always go back to cars because I'm a car guy. When I started out, 15-year-old, 16-year-old sitting at the bus stop watching the nice cars drive by, all the cars obviously, but watching the Corvettes, the exotic cars, like the cool cars driving by. I'm like, that's what I want. I couldn't afford an exotic car or a fast car when I was a teenager, but I bought nicer and nicer cars progressively that got better and better, more expensive and faster and more interesting and fun and handled better. Like, it's just leveling up, right? You just kind of like level up from one step to the next. There's only 2 states in the universe, Benny. We're going to wrap up on this note. There's only 2 states in the universe. Things are either growing or they're dying. This spring, because, I'm starting to see the buds come out on the leaves, or not the leaves, but the buds come out on the trees right now and the bushes that I have out front here in front of my window. There's going to be certain trees or even branches of certain trees that will die that I'll have to cut off, or maybe an entire plant will die that I'll have to get rid of. But those are the 2 states of every living thing on this planet. They either grow or they die. So the question that I ask you is, do you want to grow or not.
Definitely, yeah.
Right. So find that fire within you. There's lots of good motivational books from that sense. Maximum Achievement, Brian Tracy, Richest Man in Babylon, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like there's lots of really good classic books out there. Read them, download the Audible book, listen to them, whatever it happens to be, while you figure out what your next move is. In the absence of clarity of what it is that you want to lean into, just do something. You ever see one of those Roomba robots, those circular things? You turn them on and they fucking, vacuum the floor and they bounce up against things and they turn around and they go that way.
Yeah.
You ever see those things?
Mm-hmm.
Those things
They're always moving.
They're always moving, right? And if they bounce into something, they back up, they pivot, a certain degree and they go in that direction. They hit something else, they back up, they move in another direction. If a Roomba robot, a piece of shit robot with no IQ can figure out how to move in different directions, think of your possibilities.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if we have time. Last question. You talked about investment, houses or businesses.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the basic of almost everything. It's always, because I know that houses, they never lose value. And
that's not true. That's not true. House values have gone down, but they generally over time do go up, like the stock market. But yeah.
I don't know if there's if it pops in your head like another idea or something, because houses are good. This for sure, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I like something to be active with. Like me, I was a truck driver and a carpenter. I like doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it doesn't pay properly. So I would do it for 2 days a week, 3 days a week, just for fun. But companies, they don't like that because they want you to be always on, always there. So
you need to get my School of Entrepreneurship when it opens up for enrollment. It's not it's the most complete course that you can take on understanding what works in entrepreneurship and what doesn't work. Because at the end of the day, if you want to make life-changing money and have a life-changing purpose, you're not going to find it at a job. Job, J-O-B, is an acronym for most people. It stands for just over broke. And if you want to do something of large significance and be able to generate large amounts of money, you've got to lean into something like entrepreneurship. I mean, the other areas are C-suite job, CEO, CFO, CTO. Most people never get to that because you got to climb the corporate ladder and work into the spot. It takes a long, long time. There's very few jobs and a lot of people competing for it. Licensed professionals, doctors, lawyers, accountants, guys that sell financial instruments, stuff like that. People that command an audience, like influencers, actors, musicians, athletes, guys that sell high-end products that have a high commission, jets, yachts, expensive real estate. If you're in STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, I have clients of mine that are like Google engineers, and they make like $800,000 a year plus like all the fucking top ups that they get. Wow. They get a lot of money too, right? So there's certain industries that you can lean in that pay very, very well, that open up doors for you. Entrepreneurship happens to be my favorite. And it's the one that you have the most control of and the most flexibility if you set it up right. That's the key thing. Most people set up a business that they hate. You have to set up a business that provides you freedom, flexibility, the ability to maneuver, generates recurring revenue. I get into all those details in the course. Look, dude, get on my email list, entrepreneursandcars.com/red-flags. Get on the email list, because when the course opens up, I notify people there first.
Okay, cool.
Cool? Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
See ya. All right. Got to wrap it up, guys. It's been 90 minutes. It's been a slice. It's been a good show. Interesting call-ins today, especially the first one, man. I really hope Jack, takes it to heart and runs with it. There was a super chat here that I missed. Stay curious. Is this guy trolling or on something? I think that was reference to Jack. I think he was genuine, man, to be honest with you. Jack, if you're listening, I see you in the chat. Actually, there you are. If you're listening, watch that conversation we had over and over again until it sets in, man. It's going to take a bit for it to sink in, but cold hard truth, it's there. All right, going to wrap up on that note. Moff's on tomorrow. We're going to do a general show this weekend. It's going to be on Sunday, so we're just testing out a new time slot. Moff and I will just wrap on that together, shoot the shit on some cool topics. Ladies' Night's Monday night, of course, as usual. Apologies for pushing the show back today. I just had to start it at 4 because I had to go to the club and pick up. Actually, went to go pick up the Turbo S, but the car underneath mine in the stacker wouldn't start. Long story short, I ended up taking the RS5 home. So I got to prep for a rally, which is in a couple weeks. So that's why I was late today. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon. Have an